Bit of a disclaimer, huh?
Good evening and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host. And tonight I'm delighted to welcome back my good friend and yours, K. Robert Lewis.
K. Robert Lewis, Marty Olsen, how are you?
And K. Robert and I go back to Harbor School days a decade or two ago. And
Not last week.
But he's my go-to guy when it comes to Veterans Affairs. He works for the American Legion. His office is up in Rocky Hill, and his group, their charge is to help and assist in seeing the veterans get all benefits that are due them.
That they have earned, correct.
So he's got a very important job, and I always think it's important at almost any time to have him in to give folks an update on what's going on. And I think also with the holiday season, it would be appropriate too to have him in. And I would be I'd be amiss here if I didn't on the air welcome K. Robert, welcome, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I had to get special dispensation from my wife to be here tonight.
Yes, well, I know, but
that's okay.
She gave you that when I was sitting there, so.
She did. She didn't blink an eye. She said, so, you can do it.
But you're always welcome on, and I was wondering if over the Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year holiday, if that impacts your office and what you're doing. Does it add to it? Does it take away from it?
I would say the last 6 weeks we have picked up both in my office directly, in client calls, visitations. We have just recently brought on a new assistant service officer, a young man. We're getting him trained up. His name's Rico, and we're going to get him accredited and able to work with veteran clients. In my office, we are blessed to have a full-time volunteer for the last 16 years. It's somebody who's been working side by side with me. His name is Richard Olsen, Richard Lennon, pardon me. Richard Olsen is my other friend.
Well, I have a cousin, Richard Olsen. So.
I'm sure you do. It just can't be said. And what we do, we've had calls from many families. The elderly veteran is in need of long-term care, or the elderly surviving spouse is in term of long-term care. So those are pension claims, and it's a little more involved. We have to get all the banking information and get all that established so that we can provide the proper documentation to support folks' claims. And a non-service connected or a survivor's pension is more like a low-income pension because the maximum allowable pension rate for a widower, say, is $24,000, or a widow is $16,000, which is not a lot of money unless you're offsetting your income by out-of-pocket medical expenses. And that's where the VA helps out for a service-connected compensation. I want to share with a case I just informed a widow about. Her husband was in the U.S. Air Force, was stationed at Niagara Falls International Airport in the 60s, and one of his missions or one of his duties was to guard a pile of dirt and rubble. And it turns out that dirt and rubble was from a number of the test sites from the Manhattan Project. And he got cancers and recently passed away, and it wasn't one of the recognized sites, so we had to do some extra research. There is a list of what is acknowledged radiation sites, and we were able to do some more digging and found out that what happened to that soil, why it was moved, why it was there in the first place, and found out that it was radioactive and that he was exposed.
To me, that's amazing. I mean, this is going back, let's see, 55 and 25.
Well, the Manhattan
80 years here.
Manhattan Project was in 44.
Yeah.
44, 45. So the veteran was acknowledged as service-connected for his cancers. He passed away. His wife was just notified that she's eligible for dependency indemnity compensation, which is recognition that her late husband passed due to a service-connected issue. And that makes a big difference because it's a monthly, I'm not going to say stipend is a word that fits, and medical care for the rest of her life, educational benefits, although she's at the age where she's not interested in the educational benefits, but if it was a young widow with children, that puts them through school.
Yeah.
And it's a benefit, and so she's going to benefit in the long run. The recognition that her husband was made sick by his service in the Air Force was, I think, the first part of the journey, because we had to convince them, we had to prove to them that it was so. But research, the answer's always there some way. Somebody knows, and you have to just reach that person or that file or that agency. And so we've had a number of calls for both pension claims and compensation claims. A number of our compensation claims are connected to veterans who are already disabled at a certain rate, but Connecticut passed legislation exempting veterans who were 100% permanent and totally disabled from paying property tax. It's great on its face, but however, the state basically put it on your local town and city to manage that. It's an unfunded mandate on the towns, so it's going through some research at the Public Policy School of UConn. They'll have a final report in January, but it was a great win for veterans, and all the different veterans organizations supported it. And we realized that they talk about making sausage. Well, this is one of those laws where it's going to be making sausage, because they have to empower the towns to do what they can within their own means. And then there are some towns, say Greenwich, where they're service-connected disabled veterans, permanent and total, maybe living in a $2.5 million home. I think the newspaper they did an article about somebody who lived in the Masons Island area. And they said the town was losing an astronomical number of taxes. So they're going to have to work it out. They're probably going to put a limit on how high they can go on the value of the home, and the rest will be taxable. But we found this year's legislative groups to be receptive to veterans issues across the board. One of the issues that we're continuing to push is for veterans, when they're seeking compensation, is to get approached and caught by what we refer to as claim sharks. These are agencies that are in violation of Title 38 U.S. Code that says only accredited personnel, whether you're a veteran service organization, veteran service officer such as myself, accredited agents, or attorneys who agree to a certain percentage, and you can't charge a veteran, they can't charge the veteran anything for the initial claim. And these claim sharks are either charging people basically what you would consider setup fees, anywhere from $300 to $750 just to do some paperwork that your your service officer, such as in my office, can do in less than an hour, and then a little extra research at no cost to them. But it's a lucrative business because the language is not vague in the federal regulations. In 2007, they removed any enforcement language so that when people are served a cease and desist order, they make a paper airplane and just throw it around and see how far it flies, because there's no agony coming to them because they're breaking the law. They're doing it straight in your face. I mean, let it not be said that any of these people lack gall, because they got a ton of gall. But on the flip side of that, Marty, American Legion, I'll just speak for my organization. I know the VFW and the DAV numbers are similar, but in this recently closed fiscal year, the American Legion, through our service officers, were able to get compensation and pension benefits in excess of $23.6 billion for veterans and their survivors and their beneficiaries at no cost to any of those people. Whereas these other people are, as a group, they're probably up in the last 5 years, they've reaped about 6 to 10 billion out of veterans' pockets in order to do something that doesn't cost them anything. So that's just one of the things that's going on, and to lend pressure to that work we have in the American Legion and in the other veteran service organizations. We have legislative councils, members of the organization, who are picked normally based on where our legislative council for the American Legion at the national level, which I'm also a member of, I'm the chair in this state. We have one Legionnaire assigned to each of our congressional and senatorial offices, and they work with those folks and make sure that we're on a first name basis, and have people that will answer that phone call, invite you to participate in veterans events, ask you if there's any veterans events that they can participate in, and to at least listen to the argument, because the argument we make is nonpartisan or bipartisan. It's not non-political. So in DC, as you see on TV all the time, people are always trying to get you to take their side on any issue, and that ties our organization down to a particular point of view that's linked to the legislator. We want them to adopt our point of view, so and to be able to share that point of view with the people on the opposite side of the aisle. And that's both happens here at home and in DC. And I can say that Connecticut legislators have some pretty robust veterans committee meetings, and I took on the co-chairman of Trajector Veterans Claims Agency our last time. I'm looking forward to it again, but when I mentioned there was no teeth in that bill, states are picking up the slack and trying to address this through deceptive trade practices laws.
Through deceptive trade?
It is very deceptive. And the attorney, so we're working with the Attorney General's office, the veterans group in the Connecticut Bar Association, because they realize what it is. They have accredited attorneys who will help veterans with their appeals for a set price. And everybody knows going in what the argument is, and the issue mainly is that first claim, that first consult that you have you should not be charged. Whether you have a claim or not, if you go into the office and sit down and do a consult, many of these folks are going to charge you that $300 to $750 just for that conversation, knowing that you don't have a case, but you're out that money because you agreed to pay it as a consulting fee. They can't charge you to do the claim, but they get the consulting fee, and then the
That
real
seems a
you.
little bit slick.
What a country, huh? But it happens. They have call centers. You hear about these scam centers that are based in Thailand, Cambodia. They have a call center in the Philippines for one of these big agencies. I think it's Trajector. I could be wrong. My brother, who lives in Thailand, mentioned that they advertise that they have a travel agency for people who are overseas to get to their offices. And now, of course, everything is online and virtual. You can do anything online almost. But if there's money, there are people trying to find a way to take it from people who legitimately earned it. So if you look at that, what I said, between $6 and $10 billion, that's money out of a veteran's claim, or a widow's claim, or a dependent's claim, going into somebody who did very little work. A lot of the language now with Chat GPT, a lot of the statements in support of any disability claim are being generated by AI, which is a trick. And so there's less and less work, even for the scammers. AI is putting some amount of work. So, but our goal is, from the legislative standpoint, is to strengthen that law and get it passed at both the state and the federal level. So there's laws in many states, including ours. Rhode Island, passed legislation. Massachusetts and New York did as well. I think one went in favor, and the governor refused to sign it and send it back. So we have to be on our toes for issues like that. We expect to testify in the short session coming up, and then we will meet with our congressional people and our legislatures. My team holds a legislative brunch every January at our American Legion headquarters building in Rocky Hill. Actually, it's Cromwell. And we get the legislative staff, the veterans legislative staff from both congressional and senatorial offices, as well as a number of legislators or their aides from Hartford. Get them down so that we can break bread and share in a nice, calm, friendly setting what our issues are, listen to what their issues are that may need to be addressed, and ask them for their support, because, as I said, it's nonpartisan. It's not non-political. You have to, as you know, as a former legislator, you know, at the end of the conversation, there's always the ask: can I count on your support? How can we help you get to this point? And that's where veteran service organizations, and I can speak for ours also, is we stay in touch with our legislators and try and keep the public aware of what's going on, because we owe it to the people that fought and died for our nation, people that fought and died and are recognized in the row upon row of cemetery stones that were just decorated in wreaths across America, which was last Saturday for here, December 13th. And they both, Middletown locally in, I believe in Norwich and in Waterford. I think Waterford did like 350 wreaths. There were over 8,000 in Middletown. And that's a wreath, and they deliver them from Maine up and down the East Coast. And I guess they do the whole nation. So it's journey of the heart to recognize each other. A wreath, if you want to honor your loved one who has passed, who's a service member. I'm pretty sure it's $20, $25 to buy a wreath, which is the same thing as you would buy a wreath to hang on your door, but this adorns their
But there are
stones.
so many agencies and organizations that are providing veterans services and benefits.
Correct.
Veterans, VA, Veterans, Administration, at the federal level, a government agency.
Second in size only to the U.S. military.
And then we have the Legion, and you have the VFW.
Correct.
And then, and that's why I say this time of year, I mean, I don't know about you, but I suspect, I mean, I get solicited by numerous organizations.
Oh, sure.
Some that I'm familiar with and some that I'm not.
Correct.
And, are some of these folks that are soliciting, are they all on the up and up or not? I mean, they all read well, and you'd like to be able to contribute to everybody because
Right.
they're all providing, at least on the surface, a valuable service.
That also happens when people solicit for the police sergeants or the police captains, and you ask them where they're from, and they're because we contribute to our local agencies, to the London PD and fire department, and that is something that people need to be aware of. Ask them where they're calling from, and ask them if they're a 501c3 and the name of the organization. Does the money come to my state, or is it going because some call centers, the people that put those out, they can reap up to 80% of what is donated. So that's why they make all those calls. And there are many
And
good
mass
agencies.
mailers
If you get this stuff in the mail from Wounded Warrior for one, USO for one, and I'll just name a couple that
Tunnels to
that I
Towers.
support. Tunnels to Towers, I would always support them. That's them. But there are other ones. Most of the ones that aren't as much on the up and up will try and solicit over the phone or online on Facebook. The Facebook and the internet and the cell phone, the smartphone is now the tool of choice. And people, just like if they're trying to sell you a timeshare that's not theirs to sell, people get built all the time. So buyer beware. And that when it happens, it only takes away from the legitimate agencies making those calls and doing those volunteer hours, like our American Legion Auxiliary that just finished their rounds of Christmas shops at the Rocky Hill Veterans Home and Hospital and the West Haven VA Hospital, making sure that people who were inpatient there had a opportunity to acquire some Christmas gifts for their loved ones, for their families, for their grandkids, because they are in the hospital and they're laid up, and some are in a long-term care setting. So doing things like that is good. On a lighter note, my Legion post in Niantic hosts karaoke every Friday night, and Montville, I think, is every Wednesday night. They have a great public interaction. We just had a great Christmas party for kids, breakfast with Santa, party with the Grinch on Friday night, karaoke. So it's both for adults and the kids, because you put all the effort into the different programs. You need to have a good time. There's got to be a buyback. There's got to be a payback For
Now, you
those
mentioned
two key.
Montville. On Facebook, there's a gentleman named Bauer.
Bill Bauer, yeah.
I get a lot of correspondence from him representing the Montville Legion.
Mm-hmm. He's a good guy.
Things going on, and activities. And,
There's lots of stuff going on. There is one of the folks in this part of the state puts out a Connecticut Veterans Bulletin, and you can Google that and sign up for it. It's every month. It's like 70 pages long, and they do a great job covering whatever's happening around the state for veterans organization, by veterans organization. One of the biggest veterans social events is the veterans coffee houses. They have in London, Groton, all across the state. Mike Bassetto at Philomena's has a marvelous one, and it's a place where veterans can come and gather and share war stories, I guess you'd say, but just talk about their golf game and listen to some speakers come in. We, as we're able to, people from my office go out and speak and tell them what our agency does, what the American Legion does, but there's people there from the VA, from homeless organizations, from long-term care facilities, from folks. I just got sent a package for one of those CapTel phones from an organization called Heroes with Hearing Aids. So any way that they can reach out, I want to say there's well over 250 coffee houses in this state every single month.
In Connecticut?
In Connecticut. They're nationwide. I can say that the person who does the Connecticut Veterans Bulletin out of the Danielson Coffee House, I think they have well over 200 veterans every session. So it's a good place for people to go and share info. It's a good place if you're a interested candidate for public office, put them on your list and go and ask if you can speak to them, and do it in a nonpartisan way, and sell yourself without talking bad about the other guy. That's an art in itself, as we both know. Sell yourself. Why should you vote for me, or why should I? I'm not here to ask for your vote. I'm here to listen to your issues. So I'm a more informed individual. If I'm going to run for this office and seek to represent you, I need to know what your views are and why we need to look at this law or this law or this law. And so veterans have long been the backbone of this nation. They've always stepped forward. Connecticut is fortunate enough that the mustering out bonus in 1919 was instead put into a fund called the Soldiers, Sailors, Marines Fund, administered by the American Legion for all these years, and it was funded through a tax, a penny a pack on a pack of smokes, I think up until 1943, and had a very large corpus. Had they kept going, I can imagine what would be now. But it's an agency that can help veterans and their families that are down on their luck to keep the wolf away from the door. They help pay for food, clothing, housing, medicine. Sometimes you can't cover the bill that the person needs to pay, but you can cover the other bill, so they can take the money that they do have and put it towards that. And if people do need help, it's one of the organizations that is there, and it's been operating since 1919. So over 100 years of veterans helping veterans. And I'll tell you, recently, the American Legion, one of the commissions at the national level that they have is the Veterans Affairs Commission, and part of that commission mandate is to inspect VA hospitals nationwide. So we make about 10 trips a year, and we did a inspection of a VA hospital in West Haven about a month and a half ago.
Now that particular facility, I understand, is a well-run, and it's kind of a, you might say, is a model where there's been other 60 Minutes has done a piece where some of these hospitals have some concerns.
That's a good word. One of the things that has happened is that in the last couple of years, they have dropped some staff. Some people, I think up to 30,000 people in the VA took a early retirement, and to my knowledge, they didn't fill those roles. So that's 30,000 people. If they're all, not all of them are in healthcare, but enough of them are, and it makes it tough. I was speaking with one of the administrators yesterday over lunch, and her office itself is down 2 staff, but she said we're making it work because, good and bad, AI is involved in VA healthcare and VA claims and benefits. And here's a warning to everybody. AI lies. It makes stuff up. So for my office, if somebody sends in a claim, we can see where AI or ChatGPT wrote this statement. We always make sure that it's going to pass muster. And one of the things we always talk about is, why do people volunteer and go to war in foreign lands? It's because they want to protect their family here from having to go to war here. So and to do that and to build good rounded citizens, you need to have informed citizens, educated citizens, and that means that we teach Americanism programs in the elementary and middle schools, teach along with everything else, and provide opportunities such as the National High School oratorical contest that the American Legion funds.
That's
and
terrific.
manages.
Through you, I had an opportunity to be a judge a number of years ago.
Yes, you were.
Which was I was really terrific. I really enjoyed that and was duly impressed with the quality of the participants.
They haven't lessened. The young folks are smart. It's off the cuff. They're not reading any essays. They have to have it all in their head. You have to do a 10-minute presentation on any part of the Constitution that you wish, and you judge in your presentation and your knowledge. And then you have to make a presentation, a 3 to 5 minute presentation, totally off the cuff on one of 4 topics that is picked. Everybody knows what the 4 are, but you don't know which one it is going to be until it's picked there live. And people like some very wonderful speakers, orators that have come out of that, and they're both public school and private school and homeschool kids, and it's of a certain age group. You can do it as long as you don't win at the state level. You can go as a freshman, junior, sophomore, and senior.
Now, what is the benefit to the young people who participate if they reach certain levels? Is there a prize? Or
there is
scholarship
compensation. At the national level, I believe the prizes for the national finalists are $25,000. At the state level, here in our state, we have a post-level contest and a district level contest, which for us is the New London County area. And that, I think, is going to be held at Lyme Memorial. And if students are interested, if they want to make a presentation and meet some wonderful people and make a few bucks, but more so meet meet some
Now,
wonderful
are
people.
all the high schools in the state notified of this contest?
They are. They don't all participate because it takes somebody has to coach these kids.
Within the school?
Within the school or after school. So oftentimes it is a history teacher or a debate club instructor or somebody who's got about, or sometimes it's a mom or dad who has the experience and just coaches people to make a good presentation, and you can see it in the coach's eyes when their students are up there talking. And I would encourage any school to give it a shot. Even if you don't have a coach, let the students take a shot at it, because it's exposure. It's the same thing as band. My nieces are in do theater at the high school, and they're just in middle school. Great speakers, so they should have access to that. And it's something that it may not shape your life, but it will inform you about what the Constitution is, what it's supposed to do, what it's not supposed to do, what it can do, what it can't do, which seems to be all the rage these days. Is it constitutional or is it not? And then do we support when it's found to be constitutional or that it's not? And sometimes in a lot of things, people just need to relax. They just need to take a chill pill. I mean, that's from the 60s and 70s. Just chill, man. It will work out. Not everybody's an enemy. I did want to touch on one of the issues.
Sure.
I think I touched on the property tax exemption, but one of the other pieces of legislation that came down was legislation that didn't for people who need help from state agencies of low income, where in order to get assistance you have to show what income you are getting, that their VA benefits that they're receiving is not counted as income. So because if you just get, and people who know that this is true, if you're just getting that one benefit and it puts you over the benefit margin for an additional benefit, you're at the subsistence level. There's no improvement in your life. But if that number isn't counted and you can get additional benefits, you should get them. And that's a change in your life. It's a step up. It's not just staying on this road of worrying about where I'm going to pay that next bill, or heaven forbid you get stuck with one of these gas and light bills like it just arrived in my mailbox yesterday. I said, oh, it doubled. How nice. But the finals on the National High School Oratorical Contest are May 15th through the 17th at Hillsdale College. I believe that's in Michigan. It's a good. That's
a fabulous school.
It is. You see, their students are tasked with doing stuff with their lives, and I think that's a great thing. So, anything else?
Well, you jotted down a note on Wreaths Across America.
Wreaths Across America, thank you. This is probably a 25-year-old program. I think I touched on it a bit. That was the brainchild of some folks in Maine when people, quite frankly, it was a brilliant move because people weren't buying trees, or they weren't buying wreaths. So they turned all those trees into a bevy of wreaths, and went to organizations like the American Legion at our conference held twice a year, and encouraged us to sponsor wreaths. And the price then was $20. I think it's $25 now. So a $5 increase over 25 years is unheard of. but you sponsored the program, and they use that income to do programs that show what the members of the service did, show what America is all about. So, and it's pretty much it's wreaths across America, and it's true. It was in every state as far as I know. So that's millions and millions of wreaths. In our part of the land, they come down through Maine and make stops, and they send truck after truckload of these wreaths, and they pull.
And where are these wreaths placed?
Against the tombstone of veterans in the cemeteries, and that is in a private cemetery.
And they're distributed by veterans or families or?
Veterans, families, volunteers, children, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. It takes a lot of people. I think there's well over 125 in Middletown to do the thousands that they laid there. There was a good number at the Jordan Cemetery in Waterford to lay the wreaths out there. You have to have somebody in each location who wants to sponsor that and kind of gears the funding to acquire the wreaths for that location. But it's nationwide, and they go on the road and deliver wreaths to Arlington. Every single gravesite in Arlington gets one of these wreaths. It's a magnificent sight, and especially have just a little coating of snow the way we did the other day. It's a memorable time. And that's just a non-profit trying to do something good, do something that makes people feel good. And at times like this, when there's shootings going on in schools or people are arguing about it, it's veterans issues or recognizing the service of veteran is a commonality. It brings us together, and it's done by Legion members, DAV members, VFW members, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, anybody and everybody, because especially if it's a cold morning, it's not like putting flags out on Memorial Day when it's 75 degrees and your issue is, am I going to get a sunburn because I haven't been out here? I've been working indoors for months, but that you might get too darn cold. So it's local logistics, and then it's sponsored all. And at some point in time, they pick them all up, and they're all used. I forget how they dispose of them, and I should know that. I do apologize, but it's also for a good thing. It's used for something organic, something natural to build something, because pine wreaths or fir wreaths are pretty hardy things. I don't think they just pile them on something and burn them all.
Now, the Legion and I believe the VFW are organizations that folks that have if they fly a flag, which I wish more people would do, but they wear out.
They do.
And for a proper disposal, you would accept that.
Yes.
So it's not where you just kind of throw it in your garbage
Please
pail.
don't. It's disrespectful.
That's why I'm bringing it up. That I think that
if your flag that you're flying because you like this country, like what the flag stands for, don't disrespect the flag by leaving it out there when it's the wind tears it and tatters it. Get a new flag, take the flag down, take it to your local Legion post, your local VFW post, or call our post in Niantic. We have a bin for those. And around Flag Day each year, we have a flag retirement ceremony. The flags that were, some of them are the big 5x8 flags, casket flags. Some are the flags that were put up on Veterans Graves, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. Those are worn and torn, and you dispose of all those through a ceremony where you retire the flag, and then you retire all the flags, and then you dispose of them by flames. And it's a several hours long process depending on where you're at. If you have 3 or 4 cemeteries in your area, it can be a long day, and you want to avoid any of the. Be careful with the nylon ones because they can have toxins when they get burned. So they are disposed properly, and many times always get your fire department to help out because they're that size of a blaze. New London used to do their ceremony at Nathaniel Park there, and they would have a big rack in the middle of Broad Street right there, I think it was.
Well, that's where the park is.
Yeah, they would have a big rack, and they'd have many, many flags draped over there being burned, being disposed of, and they would just add more and more, and the fire department would take care of that because you obviously don't want a fire in the middle of that park. It would make quite a spectacle that nobody wants to see, but that happens. That's something that look at your flag in April. Look at your flag this month. If it's worn and torn and tattered, make yourself a gift and get yourself a new flag and fold it up and drop it off at your local Legion post.
Yeah. See, one thing I like to do is I get solicited by the USO,
Mm-hmm.
and as an incentive, they'll say if you contribute a certain level, they'll send you a hat or a
Right.
flag, and I generally get my flags from the USO.
Nice.
I think it's a nice way where I can support something.
Well, you
that's
can
important.
show your support and do the actual support and get a benefit because you're marketing that I believe in that flag. And the more and more that I think at this time in our lives, people can get crossways in their thoughts about what the flag means, what the flag stands for. It stands for all of us. I mean, we can have an entire program on the flag, on the issues of flag desecration or patriotism and what all that stands for. But for the most part, organizations such as ours, when I mentioned teaching Americanism in schools, is sharing what the issues of Americanism are, how it ties into how the nation was founded and how we got to where we are. A lot of issues people like to say, well, this didn't happen back in 1787. How come? We can't fix that. We can talk about it and we can move on and agree to make America better each and every day.
Yeah. Well, that should be our goal.
That should be the goal, just the same as if you're raising your kids, you want your children to have better opportunities, or at the very least the same opportunities that you had growing up, and to lead a long, safe, and productive life. There was a time there in the 90s, I remember telling my niece that her generation was going to be the first generation in groups of 25 years to grow up and go through school, go through college and get a job without there being a war. And imagine how wrong I was when 9/11 happened. That happened when I was on Capitol Hill in DC, testifying on behalf of the American Legion. So to say that I've been involved for a little while is true. I've been going to DC and testifying since 1996, I think it is. And
You served on Congressman Simmons' staff with Veterans.
I did.
His Veterans Affairs man, and he's a vet.
He's a very inspirational person. When he came back, he was one of the Vietnam vets. A group of them got together and put the flagpole in Stonington, and Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The flagpole in downtown Mystic helped get that redone and commemorated, and they have a great Flag Day program there because they fly a big garrison flag, and to watch Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts wrestle with that flag and get it done is great.
Tomorrow morning's Rob's morning on Lee Elsie's program. He's on at 7:30 on 94.9. I don't mind giving him and Lee a plug for.
Rob is a inspirational guy, and he doesn't mind poking the bear, whether it's for mirth or to get a point across. But I was honored to work on his campaign. I was honored to work on his staff. It was when I was on 9/11, as I mentioned, I was on Capitol Hill for the American Legion. I had checked out of my hotel. My bags were in Union Station. I had appointments to go to the National Commander's testimony in the Cannon Building, and then go and see Senator Lieberman and Senator Dodd, then go over to Union Station, get my bags, get on the train, go out to the airport and come home. None of that happened. None of that happened. But I was checked out, and a Legion friend of mine, we went down, he was checking out of the hotel because his son lived in Arlington and he was meeting him. So we just changed the name on the room. But for those who experienced that, trying to get a hold of your loved ones by phone from someplace like DC coming through New York, I couldn't get through for 13, 14 hours. And I couldn't get through to my wife. I had to call a friend of mine, Jack, and he called my wife and let her know I was okay. And I got holy hell the next day for not continuing to call. But you can only do what you can do.
You gave it the old college try there.
So veterans, we do what we can. Veterans are of all races, colors, creeds, backgrounds, languages.
Whenever I see somebody in uniform, I always thank them for their service. I just I think it's, as well as first responders, I think it's important, police in particular. Not enough people appreciate their work.
Yes, indeed. And we just, one of the things that the American Legion did, we're talking about the VA hospitals. London and Willimantic are home to CBOCs, community-based outpatient clinics. And that's where people receive their primary care appointments a lot, as well as a number of specialty appointments, including mental health. They have the new scanning equipment now, so that you don't have to go to West Haven or out on the economy to get a X-ray or a MRI or a CAT scan. And doing that, and speaking of that, the VA, a good portion, almost 40% of the VA healthcare dollars is being spent on getting veterans care outside of the VA. So they're dealing with staffing issues by paying people to take care of these veterans, so that they are stepping up. I wish more doctors and nurses would commit to working for the VA, because it's a healthcare system, not a insurance program, as some people think it should be.
That may be something we could do another program on.
We very well could. I could bring somebody else in and we could talk about that as well.
Sounds good. It's hard to believe, but we have exhausted our time.
No kidding.
It's amazing. Time flies when we're having fun here. And I always appreciate when Kay Robert comes on because we always have a informative discussion and we hit a multitude of topics. Sometimes we repeat a little bit, but that's okay. Not everybody's the same watching the program. And again, I want to thank you, especially for taking some time off on happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And
It's been a while.
and we'll catch up soon.
I look forward to doing it again, and we'll both call into Rob's show tomorrow.
There
Maybe
you
that'll
go.
make him happy.
Folks, we have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'm not sure what Drew's got up his sleeve for the program, if we're going to be on the air for the holidays or if they'll be running we won't be live, I know that, but if he's going to be running some reruns or not. But in any event, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in 2026. And good night.
All right.